PLUxINUS, the brain game with addictive potential. Welcome to PLUxINUS. The goal of this game is simple. Collect as many points as possible by calculating numbers using dice. The player with the most points at the end wins. What you need. The game requires 30 PLUxINUS dice and a dice bag. Each die has the PLUxINUS logo with a value of 1, the numbers 2 to 5, and a 2-digit number that is crucial for scoring. Dice with numbers from 10 to 19 give you 1 point. Dice with numbers from 20 to 29 give you 2 points. And dice with numbers from 30 to 39 give you 3 points. How to play. First, mix all 30 dice and place them in the bag. The selected starting player draws 5 dice at random and rolls them. After the roll, all players check if any 2-digit numbers can be calculated from the dice, using the allowed operations addition, multiplication, and subtraction. There are 3 rules for these calculations. First of all, only addition, multiplication, and subtraction are allowed. Second of all, not all dice or all operations need to be used in a calculation. And third of all, each die can only be used once in each calculation. So an example of valid calculation could be 2 times 5 equals 10, 4 times 2 equals 8, plus 2 equals 10, or 5 minus 2 equals 3, times 2 equals 6, plus 4 equals 10. Division isn't allowed, but it might be helpful when planning your next moves. If a valid calculation results in a 2-digit number, the player claims the die, showing that number, for example 10, and places it aside. Then, they draw a new die from the bag to replace it and continue rolling. After every successful calculation, you can continue to calculate any remaining 2-digit numbers from the same roll. An example of a more complex turn could be, you roll the dice and calculate 24 plus 12 equals 36, plus 4 equals 40, minus 3 equals 37. You would then claim the die showing 37. Then you calculate with 12 minus 4 equals 8 times 3, or with 12 plus 4 times 3, the 24. Set it aside and lastly calculate the 12 with 3 times 4. These dice are also set aside. If you had calculated the 12 first, you wouldn't have been able to make any further calculations. If multiple 2-digit numbers can be calculated from a roll, it's smart to aim for the highest numbers to maximize your score. For instance, 2 times 15 equals 30. Or 14 plus 15 equals 29, minus 2 equals 27. After completing your calculations, you may select one of the remaining 2-digit numbers from the last roll, for example 14 or 15, and set it in the middle of the table for your next calculation. Draw new dice from the bag to replace the ones you used, but in the next roll, you must calculate the set number first. For example, if you set 15, your next roll might result in 3 times 5, which equals 15. Once you've solved that, you can continue calculating with the remaining dice, such as 5 times 5 equals 25, minus 3 equals 22. As long you currently have 3 dice worth 1 point each, 3 dice worth 2 points each, and 2 dice worth 3 points each, giving you a total of 15 points. You continue your turn by drawing 2 new dice from the bag to replace the 2 you used, and rolling all 5 dice again. If no valid 2-digit number can be calculated after a roll, it's considered a failed roll, and the next player, clockwise, rolls with the same 5 dice. If no number is set for the next calculation, and none of the available 2-digit numbers, like 29 or 32, can be calculated, it counts as a failed roll as well. The next player, however, must first choose one of the remaining 2-digit numbers from the last roll and set it in the center for the next calculation. Let's say the number 32 is set instead of 29. Once the number is set, no other number can be set or calculated. The remaining 4 dice are rolled. In this case, the set number 32 must be calculated first. If, for instance, you calculate 3 times 5 equals 15, minus 1 equals 14, the calculation is invalid. After this failed roll, 32 remains set, and the next player rolls the remaining 4 dice. The game ends when the dice bag is empty, and there aren't enough dice left for a full roll. At this point, all players count their points based on the dice they've collected. The player with the highest score wins. If you enjoyed PLUxINUS, don't forget to share it with your friends. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and give this video a thumbs up.